way. Yeah, but yeah, no, so I just finished my first playthrough of the entire Mass Effect original trilogy.
Yes.
I finished it for the first time back in, like, I want to say June. It took me forever. I started it in, like, February, and I played until June because I was playing other things at the same time, and also looking for a new job. It took me forever.
Yeah.
But when I got to Mass Effect 2, I remember because I had, like, the regular helmet on with the kind of half helmet that has the visor on the bottom, you can still see the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I don't know if this is the way it was in the original edition or if it is on PS4, because I've got the Xbox One Legendary Edition.
Okay.
Every time you talk, when you're wearing that helmet, the whole helmet bottom moves with you. It's like the Spider-Man mask.
Yeah.
The bottom metal part of the helmet moves in motion with your jaw.
I hated that. On PS4, it's the third one that does that.
The third one does it.
1 and 2 are fine. With the same helmet, 3 has an issue.
Actually, it might have been 3, actually.
Okay.
They kind of blur together, you know?
Yeah, after a while.
Especially 2 and 3. 2 and 3 blur together very, very much because they're much more similar to each other than they are to the first one. Especially since now that I'm playing through the first one again, I'm realizing, wow, this was very different than the other two.
The first one is my favorite game ever.
Really?
Yeah. It's the only one that feels like a fun, balanced game. Specifically because of the ammo.
I do much prefer the weapon overheat system to the ammo system.
Yes, I hate in every game, every shooter game ever, you're running around the battlefield in the middle of the open with no bullets, trying to find somebody else's bullets who dropped while you're getting shot at by 30 different people.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that the heavy ammo is a different ammo. All the rest of the guns have the same ammunition, but you need specific heavy ammo. And it sucks because it's like 5 shots from a heavy cannon are what you need to take down a Krogan. You only got 5 shots in that cannon.
Yeah.
And if you're taking on 17 Krogan in one fight, and you take down one, and now you're out of bullets that can actually do anything.
I think I generally prefer like the first entry in a lot of games because it's the one that it's the I'm gonna call it the Stranger Things method, where it's like the further you get into a franchise, the more things get explained, and the less it kind of loses the mystique or the appeal.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens. I think I watched the first 3 seasons of Stranger Things. I don't remember anything about the 3rd season. Haven't watched number 4. Don't care to.
Yeah, was 3 the one with Sean Astin, or was that 2?
I think that was 2.
Okay.
I think that was 2.
That was the last one I saw.
Yeah.
I never went back after that.
Then in 3, they started adding too much to the lore, and I'm like, this is too much here. I just wanted a nice little spooky D&D story.
Well, because they stopped working the same way. You watch season 1, and it's the kids, and then there's the teenagers, and then there's the adults, and they all have their separate, distinct stories. And then in 2, they kept swapping back and forth who was where and who was with who, and it's like, no. The point of the first season was that the kids represent stuff like the Goonies, and you see the child's perspective of 80s movies and how that's all done. And that's all filmed and written the same way with that mentality. The teenagers, it's the teenage movies from those times. It's like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's done that way.
Then you had the other point of view. You were able to tell the same story from a different format of multiple different kind of installments of the same genre.
And then in the end, they all came together with their distinct pieces and solved the greater puzzle. No season after the first one had that.
Yeah, they switched the format up. And I didn't mind season 2. Season 2 was pretty good.
It wasn't bad, but it was just very clearly not as good.
I will admit, I'm probably biased because Sean Astin is just the best.
He's really cool.
I don't remember much about honestly any of the seasons. I remember the least about the 3rd season, but I don't remember anything. Really.
I could have sworn I saw it, but if Sean Astin was in season 2 and not season 3, then I never saw season 3.
Season 3 was one with, like, the mall, I think, and it had what was the guy, Billy, with the big hair?
Oh, with the the guitar.
I think he was.
Was he the one with the guitar?
I think he might have been the guitar guy.
We stood on the bus and like.
Oh okay, no, that was season 4, I think.
Oh, that was season 4. Okay, I saw the clip of that, and I never actually watched that season.
Yeah.
Because I remember distinctly, I remember that specifically because the night before that clip came out, and it came out, they showed that clip before the season aired.
Mm-hmm.
the night before that clip went up, I had a dream where I did the same thing. It was like end of the world. I just remember standing on top of a car. It was somebody else's car, and I don't remember the reason why, but it was like, yeah, play the electric guitar to save the world. And I don't remember what was going on, and then I woke up, and they played that clip online, and I'm like, wait a second.
Sounds like the ending to the third Bill and Ted movie.
Yeah. A little bit.
Bill and Ted Face the Music. That was a better movie than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was alright.
I felt like it came with the same problem that a lot of stuff nowadays has, which is
they wait far too long to make a sequel to something that people are wanting for a sequel to, and so they have
not even that.
At that point, they have nothing but the retcon the original.
Not even that. My issue is that they keep trying to fit it into our world. It's like, no, we already established this is a work of fiction. Mm-hmm. Because our world didn't develop the same way that the fictional world did, they see it as, oh, well, in the new installment we have to, well, they didn't save the world with music, so now I have to write a new story. Like, no. Write the story of what if they had. Make them have been a success in their version of reality, and continue the story from there. It doesn't have to fit our reality, our world.
Would have loved to have seen a movie where we just have Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter.
Yeah.
Just as the presidents of the world.
Right?
Maybe have death in there too.
And because the point was they went to the future and saw what all the future stuff looked like. And it would have been cool to see them actually create that. And instead, we got the same thing as always, where it's actually, oh no, we actually turned out sad, pathetic, and
Luke Skywalker has vanished.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
God, I hate the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors are some of the
I don't mind the Inquisitors.
Worst.
I think they're pretty cool.
It's what they represent. It's why they were created.
They were created for the purpose of allowing them to have more villains.
They were created to diminish what Vader represents.
And also to have more villains.
Which you could do. A, you could do that anyway. And B, just set it in a different era. If you want the Inquisitors, fine. Put it in a different era where it actually makes sense and doesn't break canon. But it's because, despite how much they hate the original trilogy now, despite how much Disney hates the original trilogy, they won't leave it alone. Because it's what sells. It's the only thing of Star Wars that sells now.
I don't know. There's a lot of pretty cool stuff that's selling right now, especially with all of the... I mean, you guys have caught up on Ahsoka, I imagine.
Dad did. I never watched it.
Okay, well, there's a lot of stuff that's based off of the prequels and off the Clone Wars and stuff that are going on right now, based off of Ahsoka. And the Bad Batch is continuing, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
Which I dropped off Season 2. I didn't finish it, but I watched the first couple episodes.
I don't think I saw Season 2. I watched Season 1 of Bad Batch, and I was like, this isn't what we were promised.
Yeah. It would have been better if it was based off the Delta Squad from Republic Commando, but that's a conversation for another time.
I don't know, we're only 8 minutes in. Usually these are 30 minutes.
Fair, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, that's something else.
Point is, I don't know if the wording I would use is that Disney hates the original trilogy. They just have absolutely no idea what to do with what they bought.
No, they hate it. They've said it.
Bob Iger came out and said that?
Okay, sorry. Not... Disney... As a whole, no. Kathleen Kennedy, the one in charge of Lucasfilm. There's screenshots. There's actual evidence of in their office, in the Lucasfilm office, there were pictures during the making of the sequel trilogy of Luke Skywalker crossed out. Luke Skywalker, big no. Nobody's allowed to talk about Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker's not allowed to be involved. You're not allowed to make an actual Luke Skywalker. Then there's the fact that they've said repeatedly, this is not your Star Wars. This is not Star Wars. This is Disney Star Wars. This is Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars. And okay, if you're going to establish it like that, like you are intentionally saying it is two separate things, then okay. This is the Star Wars that was good, and this is your Star Wars, which sucks. If you're going to label it like that yourself, then okay, I want nothing to do with Disney's Star Wars.
I feel like people are giving Kathleen Kennedy too much credity.
Yeah.
There's no R in that word. Kennedy. Too much credit for how much influence she actually has over it, because she's just basically the owner. but she's not writing or directing anything.
No,
she's a producer.
I blame Kiri Hart and the Story Group for a lot of stuff like that, like the High Republic.
I have no idea who that is. I haven't looked into any of that.
And Rebels were Kiri Hart.
I like Rebels. Rebels was good.
I went back and rewatched it recently.
It's good. I rewatched it recently too. It's still good.
The amount of Fuel Run episodes.
You mean like how there were in Clone Wars?
Yeah, and those weren't good either.
Yeah, but the show still was.
Yeah, but there's a difference between the level balance of good and bad. If you were to count how many good episodes of Clone Wars were versus bad episodes of Clone Wars, there's a higher good episode rate than bad.
If we were going to drop every single not good episode of Clone Wars, we'd drop at least 2.5 seasons worth of media. Whereas with Rebels, we'd drop maybe like 10 episodes.
I would argue differently. I would say I didn't enjoy more than 3 episodes per season with Rebels.
Really? That seems far-fetched to me.
The amount of Inquisitor influence in Rebels.
Okay,
and that's
I think here's the difference is the fact that I think the Inquisitors are cool and make sense and I'm fine with them and you hate them for some reason.
For obvious reasons.
That don't make sense.
They don't make sense.
Okay, here's my thing. Is that I've heard a lot of people say that, they don't like the Inquisitors or the concept of the Inquisitors or them in this whole situation. But those are the same people who want Starkiller to come back, and that doesn't make sense. Putting Starkiller in there would make less sense than having the Inquisitors in there.
I would say putting Starkiller also doesn't make sense. But I would say if you had to choose between the two, it would make more sense. Because there has always been a thing with the Sith of secret apprentices.
Yeah.
And so having Darth Vader have one secret apprentice that he trains and keeps in hiding from the Emperor makes way more sense than suddenly there's hundreds of thousands of almost millions of Inquisitors all over the galaxy to the fact that there's 12. Per planet. There are so many all over the place. Every new Disney Star Wars story involves different versions of the Inquisitors, and they're everywhere.
13. So let's see, there's 1, 2, 3 in Rebels, plus the Grand Inquisitor. There's 2 in Fallen Order. Yeah.
No, there were other ones. I know there were other ones.
Maybe. But, so they're numbered. They're numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's only I think the highest number we've gotten was 8 or 9, plus the Grand Inquisitor. So at most, I'd say there's 12 of them.
The way that they make it look, even if you only see, because then there's Kenobi. There were Inquisitors in Kenobi.
Oh, true. Yeah, I forgot about Kenobi. Yeah, there were.
I want to say they showed up in some of the newer stuff. I don't know if they were in Ahsoka.
No.
Or I don't think they were in Mandalorian, but I feel like
there weren't any in Mandalorian.
3.
There was a guy in Ahsoka who kind of like dressed kind of like an Inquisitor, but he wasn't one. He just had kind of a similar look.
Yeah. But it's the fact that the reason why they exist and the justification for them existing is they're the ones who went and hunted down all the Jedi. And it's well, that was Vader's thing. That's the reason why Vader was such an intimidating bad guy. This dude single-handedly, in the original canon, there weren't that many Jedi.
With the help of the entire 501st Legion, of course.
But when you go to take
with the help of 3,000 highly trained clone troopers.
I don't think there were 3,000.
Actually, hang on. I have the stats for this right now because I use it for... I'm going to be real with you. I use the military structure of the Galactic Republic as the military structure for my D&D campaign. So I looked up and I sorted through everything. So I actually have the exact numbers as to how much is in...
Either way, when you compare it to... Here's Vader, who, according to what they said, at least in the movies, if you take the movies into account, and if you take... I want to say it's most of the expanded universe. There's a lot of expanded universe, a lot of it contradicts, but most of it confirms or says that it was Vader who hunted down and killed the Jedi. That was his thing.
Primarily.
He's the one who went out and killed the rest of the Jedi. To the point where he did such a good job, people thought the Jedi were a myth. And now you have the Inquisitors, who exist around the original trilogy. They're still not going to specify how they just magically disappeared. They just went somewhere, I guess. They came from, supposedly they were temple guards of the Jedi. It's like only the Grand Inquisitor. But it's like, regardless of how you try to justify them being there, nothing feels good enough to justify their sudden disappearance and their overwriting original trilogy history. And that's what... And then the helicopter blades.
Yeah, I will
That's
admit,
dumb.
that's weird. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're beams of plasma. They shouldn't be able to carry weight.
They shouldn't be able to do that. And we were already... Like, what was that? Because that's not how General Grievous did it. He spun his hand.
Yeah, he had like rotating wrists.
And then they made the toy that where the lightsaber spun.
Yeah, because,
and it's like...
Because if you're going to make a toy that does that, that's...
Yeah, and I have it sitting right there. But
yeah, they do.
It's that. And it's like they took the toy and they tried to make that a real thing. It's like, that doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. When Grievous did it, they were solid lightsabers. And it was his mechanical hand spinning.
Yeah.
The lightsaber shouldn't be able to do that. It would just break.
Anyway, so I do have numbers.
Okay.
So a legion, according to the Galactic Republic, is 9,216 clone troopers. In Season 7 of Clone Wars, they divide the 501st so half of it can go with Ahsoka to Mandalore.
Okay.
So Anakin, during his march on the Jedi Temple, had roughly 4,600 clone troopers helping him. So Darth Vader, with the help of 4,600 clone troopers, slaughtered the Jedi Temple.
But here's the thing. It never specified that he hunted down the Jedi with the 501st, because that was a later addition.
Actually, did. The 501st transferred over into the Stormtroopers, and they always accompanied him.
How late into canon was that added? Was that a prequel edition, or was that original trilogy?
That existed before Revenge of the Sith came out.
The 501st?
Yeah, because it's included in the campaign for Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, which came out before Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, yeah, that's what I mean. During the prequels, that was during the prequels. That was when after they made the Clone Wars.
Yeah, because that's when the 501st didn't exist.
And that's what I'm saying. Here's my issue with current canon. They keep using old mistakes to justify new mistakes. I've always had an issue with the way that the clones were structured. I've always had an issue with the way that the clones exist overwrites original canon, and that was a bad design. And instead of trying to course correct or explain how that actually all fit in, they just doubled down, and then they sold out to Disney, and then Disney made everything worse with the Inquisitors, and it's just a mess. It feels like ultimately you have to break it into, there's the original trilogy canon, there's the prequel trilogy canon, and there's the sequel trilogy canon. And all three of them, while they reference similar names and locations, have to remain separate or none of them work. They all contradict each other.
The sequel trilogy definitely contradicts the most.
Yes.
So specifically...
Sequel trilogies contradict themselves in their own installments.
Yeah, they don't make any sense at all. And I know there's other sequel stuff out there, like the Resistance show.
Ugh, I never even gave that a shot.
I haven't tried it.
Animation just looks shoddy.
Yeah. I have no idea how good it is or anything like that. But anyway, were words in my brain and I forgot what they were.
Memory deleted.
I don't feel like it contradicts anything, the existence of the clones, how they do, because there was no pre-existing information on them before the prequels came out.
Well, I mean, specifically with the Vader thing, is what I was talking about. When you have Vader being the one on record to be the guy who...
Hello there.
Hello. Keep going.
We're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Vader on record being the one to go and himself take out all the Jedi individually. And that canon stays. And then you had the addition of clones, and it's, oh no, the clones helped him. Like, no. The record still states. You can't just overwrite that.
I don't think they ever said that explicitly during the course of the original trilogy. Actually, I don't think they ever explicitly said that Vader was the only one to hunt down Jedi. Actually, I don't think anybody... They never mentioned anybody hunting down Jedi during the course of the original trilogy. They just said they were dead.
No, the immediate books, like the ones like,
The expanded universe, which was infamous for contradicting itself and having plots that make no sense, and also Luke as a canonical character, as a clone from the severed hand of Luke Skywalker. Because as we all know, the expanded universe of Star Wars was home to the best ideas.
And here's what I'm saying. That proves my point from a second ago. An old mistake is still a mistake, regardless of how old it is. Not everything was perfect, and I agree with that. There are 6 different books that start with the line, "The morning after the Battle of Endor." You can't have 6 separate books that start the exact same way, the day after the Battle of Endor. I get that the expanded universe was not perfect. There were a lot of duds. The first book in the expanded universe took place between episode 4 and 5, before 5 came out, and it was immediately retconned when 5 came out. Like, they have been retconning the books ever since the books were written.
Okay, here's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand. This applies both to Splinter of the Mind's Eye, the book that you just referenced, as well as The Force Unleashed, and that is the context in which this media is released. Splinter of the Mind's Eye was released to be a glimpse into an original draft of Empire Strikes Back. It was never meant to be a canonical sequel. It was meant to be, hey, here's what the original idea was, we're gonna go make something else.
Yeah.
Force Unleashed was meant to be a power romp through the Star Wars universe to show everybody, hey, go murder a bunch of people in the most insane ways insane.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Insane ways possible. None of this is canon, but it's not going to stop people from begging for it to be canon. People keep getting parts of the expanded universe and thinking that it was released with the intention of it being fully canonical.
And it's not.
It's not. It's just meant for people to have fun. It's basically...
It's fan fiction.
It's fan fiction.
It's officially licensed fan fiction.
It's licensed, it's not canon.
Yeah.
It's like if the movies at this point are basically just a source book that they released and said, hey, play around, it's a sandbox now, go for it, have fun. Maybe we'll release more ourselves later on, but if we do, we're not going to be bound to anything you say. Because when you have hundreds of authors and writers and directors and creators and all of that making stuff in one universe, the original creator is under absolutely no obligation to listen to or even like any of it. That's all they got rid of Mara Jade. Which, I mean, let's be real here, if you have a problem with the Inquisitors, you have to have a problem with Mara Jade too.
The thing is, I didn't actually have a chance to read a lot of the books. I have a couple of them, but by the time I got them, I'd already started writing, and I'd left reading behind for a while. I'm still trying to work through the H.P. Lovecraft series, and I just don't have time. But both Mom and Dad read those books religiously when they came out.
Oh yeah, I know Mom was really into the Mary Jade specifically.
And so it's like, I don't take their opinion as, oh, you said this is good, this is bad, whatever. Like, no, me and Dad have debates like this all the time where we're like, oh, this worked. Oh, wait, no, it totally didn't. Like, even about the original trilogy. Like, I'm still of the mind they should have gone with the original line that was intended of Obi-Wan killed your father. Because I feel like we would have gotten the Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Jedi that was originally planned. With Luke falling to the dark side, Han Solo dying. We would have gotten, I think, that, and it would have been a little bit, it would have made more sense, and I feel like they wouldn't have pigeonholed themselves. Because when they swapped it at the last second to, no, I killed your father, or I am your father,
I don't know,
it was like, it was
swapped at the last second. It was, the line in the original script was Obi-Wan killed your father, but I don't think it was a last minute, hey, we're going to switch it to this.
Well, they'd had both of them, like, they'd intended it to be Obi-Wan killed your father. They had I am your father in mind, but he was saying he was 50-50 right up until the last second where he decided, I want you to say this one, and then he said it, and he's like, all right, never mind, we're not doing the other one.
Having an idea during the course of development and then deciding to go with it later doesn't count as making a decision or coming up with an idea at the last second. that doesn't count.
I'm using his words. He said it wasn't until the last second where I decided this is what we were doing.
George Lucas said that.
Yeah.
The most, wonderfully spoken man alive. Because everyone knows, if you want truth, you go to George Lucas.
I'm just saying what he said about his property, when it was his property.
Maybe.
That's all I can say about that. What he said was it was a last-minute decision to change the line, or to solidify that was the line that they were using.
Maybe, but I feel like it's a fair point to mention here is that if we're taking that kind of development, commentary and stuff that George Lucas has said about the movies he's made, we're not getting into Indiana Jones right now. There's some stuff there.
But Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is one of my favorite movie trilogies.
Last Crusade is great. I love Last Crusade. Raiders of the Lost Ark, I haven't seen in forever.
Because really, the only problem that I can really find with the original, with the Indiana Jones trilogy, is that Temple of Doom came before Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Raiders of the Lost Ark leads with Indy not believing in magic. And I'm like, well, you did just kind of do.
As far as the in-universe continuity goes, yeah, they kind of forgot about some things, but
and that's the only major issue that I have with that trilogy, and that's why it's regardless of the behind-the-scenes stuff, everything else feels like it works.
I was talking about the commentary that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg made about the development of the movie, that there's some problems in there.
Yeah. I know there were a lot of problems, especially considering I did like that it was funny that the reason why Indiana Jones exists is because was it George Lucas or Spielberg that wanted to make James Bond?
I have no idea.
It was one of them, and they were told no. And so they made Indiana Jones instead, and that's why Temple of Doom led with Indy in the suit.
That was a tribute to like the classic Sean Connery Bond, but they made it because it was inspired by older material. It was inspired by older. There was a series of books that were adapted into radio serials that were adapted into older movies in the 40s that then Spielberg and Lucas liked, and they were like, we're gonna make an updated version of these. Yeah, I just know that I'm not saying Indiana Jones was intended to be James Bond. I'm just saying they pitched a James Bond movie and were told no, and then instead of that made Indiana Jones, okay. But because they were told no on James Bond, they got Indiana Jones. So as a reference to James Bond, they put Indy in the suit in the beginning of Temple of Doom. Yeah. Anyway, back to Star Wars.
Well, back
to where we came from.
Well, where we came from was Mass Effect, I think.
Yeah, how did we get here?
I think we were just talking about just generalized space things.
Oh no, we got to the talking about how Mass Effect, your first one is your favorite of the trilogy.
Yeah.
How the originals are usually the most interesting.
Yeah.
Which led to the whole conversation between the originals and the rest of the Star Wars stuff. That's how we got here.
Yeah.
That was
There you go.
I would argue that she's not in the first game, but Jack is my favorite character.
She annoyed me.
She annoyed a lot of people.
Sometimes it was like, okay, I get it. Your life sucks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people on this ship whose life kind of sucks right now.
Her opening dialogue, her introductory to her character is really clunky and mid-2000s Tumblr emo. It's very in your face about that. I'm like,
which I would
it is the point. She's that way because it's supposed to be a turnoff. You're supposed to hate her.
It worked. I don't like her.
It worked. And that's what I said. I was like, yeah, it works because nobody liked her for some reason. And so nobody actually sees her character progress in 3, where she's a really cool person and is teaching other kids.
I got a bit of that in 3, but because I was doing the Paragon route where I was friends with everybody, so I still got a little bit of the wow, Jack, you had character development.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I will admit though, the mission where you recruit Jack is sick.
It's a fun mission.
The prison that travels through space that people pay to ship their prisoners to, and they're like, well, you can't pay us, we'll give you the prisoners back. They're like, no, please keep them. We don't want them.
It's a fun story for sure.
It's a fun concept. I do.
Yeah. I feel like that was a lot of what Mass Effect overall is a really great trilogy. It's easily some of the best games that I've played in a while. The first one is definitely my favorite because of the gun system. It's balanced and it works. In no shooter ever does the enemy have ammo count.
Yeah.
But every shooter ever, the hero has ammo count. So while you're facing 30 guys and it's already unfair, now you have 6 bullets, and you're just going to have to run around like an idiot until you can punch one in the face for extra ammo, or just die. But Mass Effect 1, it's balanced because you don't have to run like an idiot. You just have to pay attention to your overcharge.
I was playing a mission earlier today in the original Mass Effect, and I was still running around like an idiot, but that's probably because I was leveled.
User error.
Yeah, that was just me, because I'm not good at the first Mass Effect. I kept trying to use the controls for Mass Effect 3.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. The controls change immediately between both games.
That's one of the losses of BioWare games, that they change the mechanics so often. I'll go from playing Dragon Age 1 and 2 to playing Dragon Age Inquisition, which already isn't a fantastic game, and the controls are entirely different, and I hate it so much. To be pressing the A button and I'm just jumping, and now I'm done.
Yeah. You can't jump in Mass Effect, which I think, honestly, was a good thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I keep pushing the button, expecting to jump, and it's not working. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna jump over this. I can't.
You can't. I've been playing the Assassin's Creed series, and I played 1, I played 2, I played 2 Brotherhood, and now I'm on to 3. And during that time, I was playing Odyssey here.
Mm.
You can't jump in Odyssey, but you can jump in all the rest of the games. And I'm like, why would you cut that out?
Why would you? Like, there are some games that
And
like have a distinct kind of like, in addition to like the format, like it's like the jump from going from like Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword and stuff to Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different, and it's a very weird shift in the regular formula of what made that game that game. Because all the Mass Effects are very similar enough that you can play each of them and go, this is definitively Mass Effect.
Yeah.
But if you jump through any of the Dragon Age games, each of them play so wildly different from one another that the only thing any of them have in common, because the characters aren't the same in each one, the location isn't the same, the story isn't the same, it's just the setting.
It's a completely different game.
And there's some character lead over and some stuff like that, of course.
There's one character lead over between Dragon Age Origins, the DLC, not even the original game, into Dragon Age 2 with Anders. And then from Dragon Age 2 to Dragon Age Inquisition, you get Varric, and that is it as far as characters.
Those are the only characters that are playable in more than one game. A DLC character from the first game, and a dwarf. Granted, it's a dwarf with a repeating action crossbow, but still.
Yeah.
That's
a
fair.
dwarf who is very much loved by the fan base in some concerning ways.
Yeah.
Especially for being non-romanceable.
I miss the grenades in the first Mass Effect. I hate that in 2 there's no grenades. Because that was how I took out a lot of enemy groups all at once.
Missing.
And they...
I keep trying to use the grenades, but I'm just bad at it.
Well, you gotta aim for the floor.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Because if you're throwing at the enemy, it's gonna move, and it's just gonna... The grenade's gonna go right past them. You gotta aim for the floor and it'll stick.
What I'm trying to do, because I hit the X button to detonate them before they hit something. I like detonate them while they're in midair.
There's also that
so
option.
I throw them in the air, so that way they just have more distance to fly, and I can throw them further, and I detonate them in midair before they, stick.
I throw it in their path and let the group walk over the grenade and then ignite.
Yeah, that makes sense, too.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But you can't... I don't remember if there's grenades in 3. It's been too long since I played 3.
I don't think there was. I popped it open the other day just to
Test
it out, because I'm at the point in Mass Effect 3 where, I beat the game already, but I reloaded my old save just to screw around and be like, what'll it still let me do? And the only answer to that is run around on the Citadel.
Yeah.
But I went into, the little combat simulator thing, and I was like, oh, fun.
Yeah. Those were okay. I liked that in 3 they gave you the Mass Effect 1 gun.
Which one?
In the I'm your evil clone mission.
Oh, yeah.
You can find your old gun, and it overheats instead of running out of ammo.
Oh, does it? I didn't go back. Oh!
It's a little out of the way, so you have to actually find it. But the second I grabbed that, I was like, I'm never using any gun ever again in this game.
Oh, it's funny because I found it before I did the mission, because it's just on your desk. I think you can find it in the garage or on your desk or something before you do the mission, and you can comment on it and be like, "Oh, it's my old gun. I remember this thing." I didn't know that if you go to it during the mission, you can actually pick it up. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wish it would let you just pick it up, normally, but
That'd be way too strong.
I don't think I found it outside of the mission. I only found it in the mission.
yeah.
And I grabbed it and I was like, yes, finally I can shoot whatever I want for as long as I want.
See, my go-to weapon in that one was there's the particle assault rifle thing that just shoots the laser beam.
It just ran out of ammo so fast, though.
I upgraded that thing so much, and I slapped it with a freeze ray.
Oh, in 3.
In 3, yeah.
I was in 2, the particle ray.
Yeah,
and then you're out.
In 3, I got the particle laser assault rifle thing. I
Yeah.
upgraded it as far as it went, and I slapped a super upgraded freeze thing into it. So I was just freezing people solid, and it was kind of just it felt unfair.
A little bit of a war crime?
A little bit of a war crime, but also just like, I feel like this mission should be harder.
In the first game, my favorite gun was the Spectre rifle, and I modded it with level 11 heatsink, level 11 Inferno ammo, and level 11 recoil dampener. Whatever one modified accuracy. Mm-hmm. And so basically, it was so powerful that it was just a steady stream of unlimited accurate fire, and it never overheated. Like, I think I said it took like 20 to 25 minutes for it to finally reach overheat. And then it cools so quickly that it's like literally let go of the trigger, hold the trigger, and you're fine. Hold down for 25 minutes, let go, hold back, and you're good. And it was like, that's how a game should be done. That by the end of the game, you are so... Because it's struggle, and then you get better, and it's even, and then by the end of the game, you're the one in charge. You're the one who's overpowered. The villain is the one who should be scared. He's the one who doesn't stand a chance. You're standing there in armor that can't take a hit, with a gun that can't miss.
I don't know, I think it varies depending on what kind of game it is.
It depends on...
Something like that would feel weird in, like, Uncharted.
Yes. There are certain games where it's like, okay, it doesn't make sense. In the world of Mass Effect...
In Uncharted, you're just a 45-year-old man trying his best.
Yeah. But the fact that it went from... the end of Mass Effect 1, you are an unstoppable, unkillable machine, to both Mass Effect 2 and 3, it's... why am I running around for ammo? I hated that so much. It was like everything else in the games, you know, you had the introductory story that was Mass Effect 1, you had the side mission story where literally every mission was a side story. It felt like there was very minimal main plot.
There were too many side quests in the first Mass Effect for my liking. It feels like every time I went somewhere, it was like, can you come and do this for me? And I'm like, and by go do this for you, do you mean go to this random rock, drive around for 5 minutes, pick up a thing, and bring it back to you?
Yeah.
Mass Effect 1 is just fetch quests.
I remember complaining about that I think it was Mass Effect 3 with the pre-birthday party stuff, where you had to do so many quests.
Yeah, because it was both for the party stuff and in order to raise your war like stat or something for the end of the game.
Yeah.
You have to do something like that. You do a bunch of quests, and all of those quests are just go to this planet, scan, and come back. But the thing is, at least in the version I have, in the Legendary Edition, I don't know if it was like this in the original, it doesn't track where you are with each quest. It just says what quest you have. So for a bunch of them, I would like save and come back to it after a couple of days and be like,
I know already what I'm doing.
Did I already find this thing? I don't know, and I'm not going to waste my time going back to the planet and scanning again to find out if I already did it or not.
Yeah. I feel like the mission tracker in 3 was a big issue. And I think it was that way, because I had it for 360 and I have it for Legendary Edition PS4, and I think both times there were certain missions where it was like, it would give it to me after I no longer have access to a certain area.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I just can't complete this now. Or it would stay active after that area was lost, and it's like, oh, if you didn't complete this mission, it's just going to keep dinging at you. It's still going to sit at the top of your incomplete list. And it's like, well, just get rid of it. You know I can't go back to that planet. Like the, what was it, the save some of the houses, or save the... In the mission where you went to rescue the old Prothean, there's like a side task that it gives you to like go and save memories from the people's houses before the place blows up or whatever. And it's like, if you don't get all 10 things, that task stays at the top of your stupid bar.
I don't remember that, honestly. Maybe I did it. Maybe I just succeeded.
Maybe you did it.
Maybe I was just better than you.
Maybe it's a real issue.
Maybe it was just user error, huh?
Figure out how grenades work, huh?
Oh, I see how it is.
Maybe get better at parkour.
No. Mass Effect 1 is something that, like... that's a game that I can go back to an unlimited amount of times. Mass Effect 2 and 3 as well.
It feels weird to go back to those two without playing the first one first, though.
Exactly. Like, I would love to go back to Mass Effect 3, but I'm in the middle of 2. I'm trying to do the bad guy run. There was something that I tried to figure out a little while ago. just I was messing around. There's that side quest that Samara gives you, where she's like, you need to go kill my daughter because she's killing everybody else. But then the daughter gives you the option to kill Samara and let me join you. And I tried it the first time around and it just killed Shepard. And I was like, okay, they were just messing around and it was a trick.
It was a troll.
It's not.
What?
You can kill Samara and have her daughter join you.
Why?
I don't know.
What's the...
To what end? I don't know. I don't know how much that changes in 3, but it was just that decision. I was like, oh, it actually does let you impact some major character stuff. I want to see how much the evil route can change the game. So I started over from scratch in Mass Effect 1, played through all the... Oh, my controller died. Played all the way through Mass Effect 1 as the evil route. And then I'm partway through 2 as the evil route still. And his face is destroyed. Like, you start melting, almost. It's super weird.
Oh, yeah, because you've got, like, the weird scars on your face.
The scars tear apart your face, but, like, I make myself, and I'm skinny. So I made Shepard's face a little thin. You, like, sink. My cheekbones and jaw are so ugly pronounced, and my eyes are, like, drooping.
Shepard's... the scars get, like, more visible the more evil stuff you do. Right?
Yeah, and they're more across your face, they're more glowy, they're more obvious.
Just such a weird thing.
If it were just the scars, it'd be super cool. The fact that your face starts melting is like, I at least wanted him to look like a human being still. He, like, looks like a zombie. It's super weird.
That is really weird.
Space zombies are cool, though.
Yeah.
There's probably not even any, like, in-world reasoning for it being that way. It's just because you're doing it as a player.
Yeah. Well, it's the idea that you're deteriorating because you're not taking care of yourself.
I guess
You're falling apart because you're evil. You care more about evil things than doing things right. And so it shows.
that's a really shallow understanding of the concept of evil.
Yeah,
It is, but they didn't have a way to justify it the same way they did in Knights of the Republic, where it's the powers of the Sith are actively destroying you.
Yeah, because that was it's like literally a cosmic supernatural war.
Exactly. And it's like they wanted to do the same thing, but didn't really have a justification of the Force. So they're like, it's just kind of, if you're evil, you fall apart.
To some extent, I really feel like Mass Effect only came about because BioWare wanted to make another Star Wars game, but they lost the license for Star Wars, so they just decided to make their own sci-fi universe instead.
Both Mass Effect 2 and Knights of the Republic 2 start the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
No, they don't.
You're in a medical facility that's currently being under attack.
That's not a medical facility in KOTOR 2. That's like a mining rock.
I didn't get a chance to make it out. I just remember I was... No, here's the thing. I woke up in a med bay. In my underwear. Everything's under attack. Somebody's yelling at me over the intercom. And that's exactly the way Mass Effect 2 starts. The problem is, my computer could not handle KOTOR 2. And it crashed. So, from my perspective...
You telling me that thing can't handle the game that came out in 2005?
Yeah. The older it is, the system logs don't work.
Oh, wait. Never mind. I get that.
It's like trying to run a Windows XP. I can't run that. I can't load a floppy disk on that computer. It doesn't read it.
See, that's why you gotta get a digital version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, KOTOR 2, I do have it only digital.
Huh.
The problem is, it's just an old game. So it just doesn't work. I could probably load it on my XP computer, or a Windows 7 computer right next to you, but I don't have it hooked up. But it was just like, I'd only have a frame of gameplay every time I would unpause. I was like, so at the very least, the starting point for both games is identical.
Yeah, BioWare has a tendency to start off their games by, exploding things and murdering people.
Yeah. It's a good, intense, you need to figure out what's going on, but your character's dazed, so we're going to explain things to you so that we can get the point across to the player.
Exposition, action, excitement.
Yeah,
etc.
It works.
Although I do still say the best opening to any BioWare game is the human origin.
Sonic Chronicles, yes.
What? I've never heard of this game.
It's for the DS. That's a BioWare game.
It's great.
Sonic the Hedgehog Chronicles.
What?
Sonic the Hedgehog
I'm
game.
not joking. BioWare made a Sonic the Hedgehog game. We had it.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm not joking. BioWare made a really good Sonic the Hedgehog game for the Nintendo DS.
Honestly, I'm surprised BioWare hasn't had more deals with Nintendo.
Right? I feel like they made Knights of the Republic, they made Mass Effect, they made Dragon Age, and they made Sonic the Hedgehog Chronicles.
They washed their hands of this.
Yeah, they're like, all right,
their duty.
we made a Sega Nintendo game. BioWare Sega Nintendo. We did it. We did it, guys. Back to Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yep.
Never doing that again.
Yeah, they set it up like it was supposed to be a series. Like there was going to be more in the Sonic Chronicles series. Only made the one.
I have a story there.
To be fair, they laid off like 50% of their staff.
They did that again with Red Wolf.
Yeah, they laid off 50% of their staff and then laid off 50 more.
They keep doing that.
They should stop doing that if they want to, maintain a fan base.
Every game studio that like people are awaiting stuff from keeps laying off half the studio.
Do they think it's going to go well for them? I hope they don't, because it's not going to.
Well, it's because all the studios keep getting bought out, and then the people who buy out the studios absorb them and cut the people who work at the studio.
Yeah, wasn't BioWare already owned by EA? Like, EA doesn't get bought out. EA buys out other people.
Yeah, EO bought out BioWare, and then BioWare lost half their staff.
Yeah.
Fair.
And I think that was that right between 1 and 2?
Yeah, it was, because they got forced
that was
to
where the
cut
shift
their timeline
happened.
way short for
Yeah.
Dragon Age 2 and change the name to Dragon Age 2 instead. I think it was Dragon Age Awakening.
Dragon Age Exodus.
Exodus, that was it.
Awakening was the DLC for the first
Right.
game.
Yeah, they got forced to cut their timeline way short. That's why all of the cave maps and sewer maps are all exactly the same. They were cut. They had to cut so much stuff down, which is honestly part of why Dragon Age 2 is so good, because you get to focus on the characters really, really well.
The characters are really well done in
Fantastic.
Dragon Age 2. Most of them.
Which is why I like Mass Effect 2 as well.
Yeah.
Was because the maps weren't all identical, and there was a ton of DLC, which I hate DLC, which is why I like Legendary Edition.
'Cause it has all of it in
It's
there.
all 3 games with all the DLC packed into one disc, and it's awesome. You just move from one thing to the next, and it's great. More people need to take notes from that. I love collection stuff, like the Nathan Drake collection,
The Master Chief Collection for Halo.
Master Chief Collection. I've got the Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. I don't understand why 4 never made it to PS4. 1, 2, and 3 are on the Devil May Cry PS4 collection. Devil May Cry 5 is on PS4. 4 was only on PS3.
That hurts.
I won't be able to play it. I don't have a PS3.
We have a PS3.
We do, yeah.
Well, screw you, I still don't have the game. You gotta have both parts.
So get the game.
Get the game. Get good, scrub.
I don't have money. I have like $7 in my wallet. And GameStop doesn't sell PS3 games.
Why not?
The Sunken
Because it's
Treasure?
outdated.
Sunken Treasures buy it.
Yeah,
Sunken
Sunken
Treasures
Treasures
might.
30 secondhand.
Um,
You're probably better off looking on Facebook than anywhere else.
yeah, but I don't have Facebook because I hate Facebook. I hate social media in general. I started some fights over on Twitter earlier today.
As you should. Twitter sucks.
Over what?
I think the first argument was over Matt Pat.
From Game Theory?
Yeah, I don't like him. He went off the deep end a little while ago with the whole Scott Cawthon thing, and that was what our argument was about. I forget what the other thing was, and then I made a joke about the Bible, where somebody quoted the Bible about a wolf in sheep's clothing, but the actual line from the Bible was the ravening wolf, and I read it as ravening, like raven. And I was like, so what is it? Is it a sheep? Is it a wolf? Is it a raven? You can't just throw ravens into this. Like, it wasn't intended as anything mean. It was just me messing around. But
That's
some people
funny.
were like, what the heck, man? I'm like, no, it's just a joke. What is wrong with you people?
That's the trouble with Twitter, is there are people that are actually that stupid on the internet. So
Yeah.
unless you're really clear about being sarcastic, people have every right to assume you are that dumb, because people are that dumb on the internet.
Right?
People are incredibly dumb on the internet.
So, but I don't want to just hashtag sarcastic at the end of everything I say.
We should just
I
be
should
able
have that
to-
in my bio.
Yeah, just make
Just,
that your profile picture. Just put everything I say is sarcastic.
Well, my profile picture is my logo.
Ah, fair.
Which I wish it would be on Nathan Drake's face.
Take one of those top secret fonts, like the word art, and put sarcasm in it, and put that over the top of your logo in your Twitter thing specifically.
I wonder who did the facial model for Nathan Drake, or if they had one at all, because it's a very distinct face. I feel like it has to have been based off of somebody.
Well, I don't think they modeled Uncharted 1 after anybody, but they modeled Uncharted 2 after Uncharted 1, and then 3 off of 2, and then 4 off of 3. So I don't think it was based off somebody.
Yeah.
I think they had generic guy, and they made him look... They tweaked some things to make him look different, and then he just looked like Nathan Drake.
I mean, in the first game, they were all pretty... I mean, the graphics were good, but they were kind of blocky in the face. They were very...
I have the remaster of them, so they look a lot better.
That's a person face. That's a computer-generated person face, I should say.
Yeah.
But
it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's drawn.
His nose is a little long, though.
Yes, that's part of why I can tell it's drawn. The nose, the proportions of the eyes.
Yeah,
the
it's
general
not.
jaw shape.
It's not exact, but it's decent enough, and it's in high enough resolution.
I don't know.
It's like looking at AI-generated art and having to count the fingers.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I think the characters on this wrestling game over here have him beat. I think they look better, definitely.
Yeah. That dude.
Specifically that dude over there.
Zombie chick. That was as real as you can get.
Yep.
100%.
That dude.
Guy definitely.
Photorealistic.
I feel like I can put my hand in the screen.
I mean, we literally took photos of people and slapped them on their faces. So, I mean, like, how much more real does that get?
I need to see these monstrosities you've created.
Oh, yeah. Pop it open.
Oh, you haven't seen any of
He
it.
has not seen them.
Okay, I guess we'll actually do something in this episode.
Hello.
This was...
Is it dinner time or?
Yeah, we got food ready. We got here.
Ooh,
Oh, alright.
Heck yeah.
This was 50 minutes of us talking. In the last... We finally... I clicked something.
Good glory.
Yeah, you need to see some of these. We'll be down in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, absolute.
This is the absolute. And he is my favorite.
Amazing. The mustache.
The Armstrong mustache is the greatest thing.
It truly is.
And then the
I like to think
the skirt, the tassels.
The ones on his feet, I think, are more fun than the
Yeah.
There.
He's got little feet tassels.
I'm just appreciating how small and dainty his hands are.
Yeah, he just looks so big and he's got little hands.
got a little baby hands.
He's got little otter hands, just little fingers that have never seen the horrors of war.
And then this is the guy Alex made.
Nice.
He melted.
Yes, he did.
This is irradiated Bobby. And this is he was smashed between two buses. So he got stuck between two buses, and it did not end well for him.
That is beautiful.
He's like a gumdrop that you swish between two.
Yeah, it is.
That you squish between your fingers.
Yeah. It's like when you're taking an earplug and you're gonna shove it in your ear, but you have to squish it down first.
Yeah.
It's like that.
The one I made.
Oh no.
And then,
what did you do?
He's not on the board yet. You'll see him in a second. This is
Oh yeah, he's on the bottom.
the rest of them
Scroll through.
aren't as funny. Here's the sewer man.
Sewer.
Yeah. He does have
I like the emo haircut.
this. With the Joker.
The upside down clown.
Upside down.
And then let me see if I can click it before it loads in so you don't see it. Oh, it just went right to it.
The serial killer?
The serial kilter. We took a photo of a guy's face and we skewed it.
Can it? Yeah, there we go.
That's horrifying. I like it.
And like on this side, it almost looks like war paint. You got like some mud and some graphene.
Is that amount of detail on the neck part of the game, or did you do that?
We
He
did
did that.
Okay, that's horrifying.
Yeah, he looks like he's wrapped in like plastic.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks like the plastic is wrinkled.
They took a picture and they slapped it on his face and then they wrapped his head in saran wrap.
Blue saran wrap.
Blue saran wrap.
He is
In the
one of
jaw.
blue men.
The massive jaw.
It's so difficult to see his actual face because of the face painted at the top. It's truly horrifying.
I like that his right eye is just like
Yeah.
it's just sticking out of his head.
Looking like Sloth from the Goonies.
Yeah. Hey, you
And then
guys.
there's all the stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to make him look like he was wearing
A
a
bathing suit, referee unitard.
referee bathing suit. And then
It looks like he could go well in a Charlie Chaplin if he didn't have the kilt on. Although with the kilt too, actually.
yeah.
Just waddling around. Alright.
Yeah, I'm hungry though.
Yeah, that's a good 55-minute podcast episode, I guess,
guess,
where we
yeah.
didn't really do anything. I did make Mega Man.
Wow.
I made Mega Man.
Wow.
And it's actually...
That's
Wow.
actually pretty good.
It's not-
Mega Man.
It's
not
not
bad,
bad.
yeah.
I like the shiny.
That's very shiny.
And I like the M's on the boots.
Yeah. Those are very nice, very stylish.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for
Anyway.
today.
Yeah, getting meatballs downstairs.
Oh, heck yeah.
Happy Tuesday.